Welcome back. All right, so today I'm taking you to the east of Merida in a neighborhood called Lourdes, and it is just in the east of Centro Merida and a few blocks from the Gran Parque La Plancha. So, all right, so this property was sent to me by Amelia back in like November of 2024, so last year. And what got me interested in this property was how wide the property is at the front. So this property at the front measures 12 meters and it goes up to 38 meters deep. Now, this property is on an terreno irregular, and that is because this property looks like somebody cut off a small chunk of it at the back. So it's almost like an L-shaped size, because one side goes 38 meters deep and then the other side goes like 35 meters deep. So it is not a full rectangle. It's like somebody at the back chopped off a small chunk, because the thing is, these properties back in the day were owned by like one person, one man, and then when they die, or at least when the person dies, he would now will the property to his children, and the children will now cut up the property in small chunks, and then each person will take a particular chunk. And because these properties, they are very large, they go very deep. So when somebody cuts off a small chunk at the back, you don't even care. You don't even notice until you now have to go and do the paperwork on the house and now sell it. Because as you can see with this property, they only built a small structure on just up to like 8 meters of the land, and then the back they converted that into a garden. And I really like what this couple did with the garden. Like, I love all the trees, all the plants in the garden. So you're going to see that this couple, they have many refrigerators, and that's because the husband repairs them and then he will sell them. Because I was like, why do you guys have so many fridges in your home? But anyway, that's besides the point. So this property that we see here, it has like a triangular shaped roof, and they call them techos francesa, French roof, and that's what they call them. Very high ceiling, as you can see, high ceiling, and then they put wooden roof. So this actually was a store or a storage or warehouse or something in the past. And when this couple moved in almost 20 years ago, because I asked them how long they've been living there, they said about 20 years. And I saw a judgment document that was drafted back in 2007. So I think that was when they acquired that property. And I went to go check out this property in 2004. So 2024. So let's say 17 years later. So anyway, this property, actually, I was looking at the property for the land size, not for the actual structure that you see here. Because I was thinking to myself, if I were to acquire this property, I would probably just convert this area into like the parking space, games room, welcome room, reception area, conserve that structure, conserve the roof, and then build some apartment units at the back, because it has a very large land size at the back. But then also I would have to figure out a way to build around the trees at the back, because they have many fruit trees and just beautiful trees at the back. So to me, this structure itself wasn't important to me, because I was like, well, who cares? Like, what I'm interested in is really the land, not so much the structure that's on the land itself. And also this part of it, the house, like, you have to step in, like, it's almost like on the same ground level as the street. And this area, Lourdes, it gets flooded during the rainy season. And I know this because during the rainy season, I was driving around to go check out some properties, and the roads were very flooded. So the living room might get flooded. So maybe there might be a way to raise the floors a little bit, but then you might lose the flooring that you have there. So yeah, so like I said, I wasn't really that concerned about the structure that's on the property itself. What I was more concerned about then was the land size that was at the back, because the fact that you wouldn't have to do a lot of demolition because there's nothing at the back to demolish. Maybe cut down some trees, but pretty much that's all you need to do. So the roofing here also, this is very easy to take down. Like if it was concrete roof, then that's an additional cost in demolition. In this case, you're just removing those roof. That's it. Very easy to take down. So like I said, this property at the front measures 12.1 meters wide, and then it goes as deep as 38 meters deep, and then yeah, so it's on an irregular land. Now the asking price initially was 1.8 million pesos, and then they told me that okay, they could give me a deal, and then they brought it down to 1.6. And then I was going back and forth with the realtor, because really this property, you're really buying it for the land, really. And the street where the house is on is a very small street, and because I usually prefer wide street, but this street is quite small, and like I said, this area gets flooded, but it's in a good area. It's just in the east of Centro, and because of La Plancha, many of the property owners in this neighborhood are like going crazy. Even though they haven't done any work on their property like La Plancha, but they just wanted more money. So they were like, okay, we could bring it down to 1.6. Now, when I went to go look at the property, the couple and their daughter was there. And I remember the couple, they were telling me that, hey, we have a few other people coming to check out the property, just let me know as soon as you can. So, like they were trying to pressure me to buy. I was like, listen, I'll get back to you when I get back to you. Like, I have a few other properties as well to go take a look at. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to fall into your pressure. Like, I know how this works. So about maybe 2 weeks later, I messaged Amelia. I was like, okay, can they take 1.5? Because they came down from 1.8 to 1.6 and then to 1.55. I was like, okay, can they take out another 50,000 pesos? Because they told me that they're going to take out all of their stuff from this land. Because as you can see, they have, quite a lot of stuff. But one thing that I know about many people is that, especially on this part of the world, is that they will tell you they're going to do something, but really they won't do it, especially after you've paid them. So when you're going to be buying a property, especially properties like this, you want to make sure that the day before closing, you go and verify the property again. So you're going to let the realtor and the sellers know that, hey, maybe not a day before. So for example, if you're going to be closing, fideicomiso, it'll take 3 to 4 months. So a month before closing, usually the notary will tell you, hey, in a month, you should have all the documents ready, so we should be ready to sign. So a month before, you want to go and check out the property again to see if they've done what they tell you they're going to do. At least they've done most of it, right? Because you don't want to get to closing, pay them the money, and then they give you the key, and then you now go and find out that they didn't even do anything. They didn't clear the grass. They didn't take out their junk and all those, because now it'll cost you money and just stress that it's not necessary, right? So when you find properties like this, fixer up or what have you, and then there are a few things that needs to be done by the sellers. Maybe tell them at the beginning that, hey, before we close, a month before we close, I'm going to come back and check. And 2 weeks before, I'll come back and check to make sure that everything is ready. If it's not, then we won't, we're not going to be able to close, right? So you want to be firm. So yeah, because these guys had a lot of stuff. I was like, but then I knew that closing would take me a few months. I was like, okay, at least in those few months, you guys can, figure things out and clear everything out. So I think, so anyway, so I was going back and forth with Amelia, and then beginning of December 2nd, she told me, she was following up with me on this property, and I actually want to go check out this property twice. So these sellers knew that I was quite interested. And then on December 2nd, the realtor told me that, she just had to confirm with the sellers about my offer, and then as long as I give them a little bit of money. So usually the seller sometimes will ask you for a deposit of some sort to make sure that you're actually going to buy, instead of you telling them, hey, I'm going to buy, and then a month later you end up not buying, and now they have to go through all the process all over again. But that's also risky on your part. So I'm going to say I wait until the notary checks all the documents, everything is accurate, everything is legit, and then they can now approve of you paying them a little bit. And a little bit, I would say no more than like 5%, right? Because if you pay them at the beginning, and then the notary now realizes that one or two of the documents are not up to date, or the documents are fake, or they don't actually own the property, or they own some mortgage on the property, or just they have some issues on the property, then it's like now you're at their mercy. Now it's like you either have to wait for them to go and get all those documents that they need, or just hope and pray that they will refund your money. In many cases, once that money is in their account, it's gone, right? So in terms of the deposit, you don't want to give them any money until if they really need it, you feel like they really need it, then maybe get an okay from your notary, and then you can give them that money, as long as all the documents are up to date. In some cases, the sellers are not in so much pressure for money, and so they're able to wait 3 months or 4 months until closing, and then you pay them all of their money. So on December 3rd, on December 2nd, Amelia told me that, hey, when can I sign the promissory with my notary? I was like, okay, probably next week, because I've already told my notaria about the property. And she was okay, great. And then the following day, December 3rd, she was like, we have a problem here. I was like, what's the problem? She was like, I spoke with the daughter of the sellers, and now she's telling me some issues, telling me that the property is actually worth more, and they actually want more money. And I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, you guys said the property has been on the market for a while, so you should have known the value of your property before putting it on sale. And also, when people were coming back and forth to check out the property, that if they had people going to actually check out the property, so when those people that you claimed were coming to check out the property, when they were coming, why didn't you guys also go to verify the value of your property? Like, why would you list it at a particular point, at a particular price point, knowing fully well that it could be worth more, right? So that just didn't make any sense to me. And then I was asking Amelia, I was like, why is the daughter involved? Like, this property belongs to her parents. And actually, I asked them, like, why do you guys want to sell? They were like, okay, the property is just too large. It's too big, and it's a lot of work to maintain. So they wanted to move to a smaller location that's easier to maintain. That's what you do when you're at that age. You want to downsize and just move somewhere where, it's less work, less maintenance, right? So, and then, yeah, but for some reason, the daughter was like, no, this property is worth more, we want more money, and yeah, so is she gonna pay more or not? So I didn't even bother to ask Amelia like how much she was asking. I was like, you know what, that's fine. I was like, that's fine, like I'll just keep looking, because also around this time a property that I was interested in came back on the market again. So I said, you know what, like, the sellers think that they have options, I also have options, so let's go. So I was like, you know what, that's okay, like I'm just gonna walk away from this. So this was the second time this happened to me in the same neighborhood. Like I found a property, I liked it. Okay, here is my offer. And then they accepted my offer. And then when I was about to actually start on the processing of the paperwork, then for some reason they wanted more money. So I was like, listen, like, just because I'm a foreigner doesn't mean I'm an ATM machine and like I just have money just like that. So you guys want to drive up prices of your property, and you want to charge more than what it's actually worth, then be my guest. But I'm not going to participate in this, because this is how gentrification happens. So I just left them, and I decided to just go and work with a seller who actually was motivated to sell and who wasn't in a financial pressure to require some deposit at the beginning. So that was what I did. So when you're in a situation like this, you just want to make sure that you take your time. Don't rush, don't be desperate. Really take your time, because when the realtors know that you're not desperate, when the sellers know that you're not desperate, they will act differently. So if they know that, the realtors especially, if they know that you are talking to multiple other realtors and you're also driving around doing your own research, they will act differently, because they know that, okay, this person really is taking her time or his time to find the best deal for himself or herself, right? Nobody will pressure you into making a decision that you will end up regretting, because with this property, after purchasing this property, right, you still have to pay the closing cost. You still have to build, right? That's an additional expense. So you don't want to get into something whereby, you've already bought it. Now you fix it up, you've built it, you've done whatever. Now it's time to sell, and you can't even find a buyer, because your price point is just outrageous, because you paid an outrageous price at the beginning. Right? So at least it depends on what you're looking for. If you want to find something that when it's time to sell, you're not going to have issues to sell, then you have to make sure that at the beginning when purchase something that makes sense. Purchase something that will be easier to sell when the time comes. So this property, it's on a relatively quiet street, on a good neighborhood, super close to Centro, super close to La Plancha, but unfortunately, it just wasn't for me. So I had to keep on stepping. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this property, the size of it. So the size of the property it's less than 400 square meters. So I'm gonna put all the details on the screen, along with the screenshot of Google Maps, so you can see where this property is located in Merida. Let me know. So the original asking price for this property was 1.8 million, 1.8, and then they were like, okay, we can bring it down to 1.6, and then they brought it back down, and then they brought it down to 1.55, and then I was trying to bring it down even further to 1.5, because I was like, what happens if these guys just walk away without clearing out all this stuff that they have on their land, right? And also the fact that after purchasing this property, you will need to build, right? So let me know what you think about this land, what happened between me and the sellers, and if you were in my shoes, what would you have done differently? All right, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.